Hey guys, I'm going to be showing you how to do the install of one of our slide-in gas ranges today. This is a new product that I just got shipped in here, and I want to show you how to do the complete unboxing all the way up until getting this thing into its hole. Alright, so if you notice, our box actually has the word front labeled right here on the top left-hand corner. They do this so that you'll know where the appliance inside of it is actually positioned, and that's key so that whenever we remove the box, we're just having to slide this thing directly into its opening. I've got it positioned right now in front of the opening that it's going to go into. I've got my box set up to where the front is actually facing towards you guys. It's facing away from the wall. So now we're just going to remove the cardboard. But to remove the cardboard, you do need a razor knife. Just be careful you do not get anything with an extremely long blade. Nothing more than a 1/2 inch. Most standard razor knives are fine. We just don't want to get too carried away. And you're just going to follow. There's a dotted line that goes all the way around this box. We're going to cut all the way around this box, and we should be able to lift the entire box up and off of this unit at that point. All right, so one thing that I do know from doing a few installs, I've got the entire bottom of this box cut now, so I can technically just lift this off. Now there's a brace, a cardboard brace in all 4 corners. If we lift this box up and just set it off to the side, each of those braces is going to come slamming down. I'm one guy, I can't catch all 4 of them and lift this box off. So what I do is I will actually rip open the top, and I will remove the 4 braces just to keep them from hitting the floor. Now it's just cardboard. You probably aren't running much risk from damaging anything. It's just something I don't like to have these slamming around while I'm trying to install somebody's brand new appliance in their home. Kind of gets them a little on edge, a little worried about if I know what I'm doing inside of there. And that would be our 4th one. Now we can actually take this entire box and just lift it up and off and set it off to the side. All right, now that we've got the unit exposed, I'm going to go ahead and open up my door. I'm going to get, looks like my anti-tip bracket. We'll go over that, but I want this, my literature. This has got my installation instructions. I'm going to go ahead and review this just to make certain there's no changes that I'm not aware of or any updates to it. And we'll pick this back up in just a minute. All right, so one of the first things that you want to do once you get the box off the unit, you're going to do a visual inspection on the unit. Most importantly towards the back of the unit where our gas lines that feed our fuel throughout the system are. Make sure none of those lines are damaged. Check your power cord. Make certain that it doesn't have any cuts or breaks in it. Everything looks brand new. Everything looks safe. That's the big question there. Is it going to be safe to install this unit? We don't want to waste our time going through this whole process just to find out that we're installing something that's unsafe that's going to have to come right back out. Verify that the opening is wide enough. You need at least 30 inches to be able to slide this thing in here. Otherwise you're going to come into problems going through hooking everything up and then going to slide it in. And what I tend to do is I will always measure from the floor to the top of the countertop. That way I can do my leg adjustments prior to sliding the unit in. That way once I slide it in, I'm not having to try to get underneath it and make any final adjustments to those legs. So I'm going to go ahead and install my anti-tip bracket on the floor down here. Now I did a video about a week and a half ago where I actually drilled out the holes for this anti-tip bracket. In my scenario, I just have to run my screws in because I've already got pre-drilled holes, but I'm going to show you the video footage from where I actually drilled it out so that you guys can see how to do it properly. I'm going to be showing you how to install an anti-tip bracket on one of our slide-in ranges today. A few things that came with our anti-tip. We got the actual bracket itself. Comes with 2 screws that we're going to use to either secure. There's 2 methods, and I'm going to show you both. We can secure it to the floor, or we can secure it to the wall. And then, most importantly, our template, which is what we're going to use to actually install our bracket up against the wall. So, if you look at our template, it actually has a diagram for our right hand anti-tip bracket if we're going to install it on the right, and it has one on the left. Since we're going to be doing the right hand one, I went ahead and I cut out the little holes here just so that I can put a pencil mark through there. It would be the same if you were doing it on the left hand side. As you can see, we actually have a gas line we're going to be playing with, but I'm going to show you how to install the right hand one if the unit could slide all the way up against the wall first. That's going to have us putting the template all the way into the corner. So the first installation method, we're just going to take the template, we're going to get it right into our corner, we're going to hold it securely against the floor so it doesn't move, and we're going to make a pencil mark into where both of our little openings are. That's where our bracket's actually going to sit. Alright, so now we're going to line our anti-tip bracket up with our markings on the floor. We're going to use those. Those are just going to be a location mark in this case, so that we can find out where we're going to put our screws. Now we're going to screw directly into the wall using these 2 5/16. Alright, our second installation method is going to be bringing our bracket out a little bit further because we're fighting with a gas line here that's coming through the floor. So we've got to actually figure out how far out this gas line sets to ensure that our bracket is in front of or to the face of where this is going to be at. So we're going to measure it out. We're at about 2.5 inches, so we're going to go 2.5 inches from the floor, and that's where we're going to put our template. We're still going to use the edge here. We just can't go by the back. We've got to use our 2-inch distance, or 2.5-inch distance. And we're going to remark our holes, or we're going to mark our holes, we're not remarking them. That's where we're actually going down into the flooring. Alright, so I've got a slab floor that I'm trying to mount this thing to, which means I need a hammer drill to actually get the screws down into the concrete. Now if you don't have a slab floor, if it's just a wood floor, then you would just take your bracket and screw directly down into the floor instead of going into the wall like we did on the previous method to secure your anti-tip bracket. But in my case, I've got a slab floor. I'm going to have to use a hammer drill to get down into it. So I used a 3/16 masonry bit inside of a hammer drill to basically get my holes to be able to run my screws into. Now these screws that come with this kit are actually designed to go into masonry or into wood. So it doesn't matter if you're using them for either or, they can do both. Now that I got the anti-tip bracket installed, I'll go ahead and finish the installation here, and we'll see you guys in the next video. All right, so I've completed my visual inspection. All of my tubing looks to be healthy. Everything looks to be safe back here. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my incoming power supply so we can plug this unit in. And we're going to go ahead and connect our gas connection to our regulator. So the only way that I've been able to determine to ever get the cardboard out from the bottom of one of these units, the bottom of the box, is using a two-man lift system, where we basically lift the unit up safely and set it down on a protective covering to prevent the floor from getting damaged. All right, so my gas line came with not only my fitting to connect to the appliance, but it also came with some pipe thread sealant. I'm going to show you how to run some pipe thread on it. Now, one thing that a lot of techs make the mistake of is this is a flare fitting. You do not need to use pipe thread on this. You only need to use it on any standard fitting. And if you had a can of pipe dope, what you would do is you would actually use a brush and you would actually get it down inside the grooves. But I'm going to use my finger just to get it down inside the grooves, so make certain you got something to wipe your finger off with. Don't wipe it on the customer's floor or their dog or whatever else is around. And then we're going to go ahead and hand tighten that in. Now be certain that you support this gas regulator whenever you are tightening this fitting. We don't need to bend anything. We don't need any of these tubes to get bent, kink, or crimp, create an issue. And just try to get it a good and snug. Then we're going to take our gas line. We're going to connect it tight as we can, again by hand. And now we can actually use this fitting we just tightened. We're going to use this fitting to support tightening this fitting. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and connect our line to the incoming house supply. Now, I always tend to go counterclockwise for a moment before I go clockwise, just to ensure that I'm not cross-threading anything, because once you cross-thread this fitting, especially here, you're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot and having to get some more fittings and restart this process. So we're going to get it as tight as we can by hand. We're going to support this connection here as we tighten down and now we can actually turn it on and do our leak checks using our solvent. So now that I've got all my connections made, I want to go ahead and leak check my lines. So we're going to turn our gas on. Now the kit that I get, the Electrolux kit, which I'll give you the part number for, it actually comes not only with the sealant, but it comes with this soapy bubbles and a little test tube. Just make certain you set something down underneath the line so we're not getting soapy bubbles all over the floor, or bubble solution all over the floor. I don't see any leaks on this one, so let's move on to the other two. All right, so all you're doing is you're pretty much just squeezing a small amount of this bubble solution on both the front and back side of this fitting, and it's going to wrap around and it's going to drip off on the bottom. That's why we're putting a towel underneath to collect it. And we're just looking for any signs of bubbling whatsoever. We don't see any bubbling. We're going to clean it off. But now I'm confident we do not have any gas leaks coming into this unit, so we can go ahead and push it in and start putting it together. One thing I want to notate while we're back here working on the gas supply, this little switch right here, this little toggle is the service valve. This is actually used to shut the gas supply off and on during servicing of the unit. Sometimes these switches will get knocked into the off position. On is actually with it fully extended. Basically, you're pulling the pin out. There's a little pin that goes inside of here. We're actually flipping that switch, which pulls the pin outwards. That is actually the on position for this. So before you go through the process of pushing this thing in, make certain that you check that so you don't have to pull it back out whenever you find you don't have any gas flow inside the unit. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get our protective covering off. Now that we've got the unit slid in, connected, power supplied. One thing you always want to check, there's nothing in this drawer before you walk away from this appliance. I know some installers have actually put the use and care guide in there. I would not do that. If that is left in there, and they go to use this appliance, they're going to get a funky smell, and you're possibly going to get a call back letting you know, hey, something's wrong with this brand new product you installed inside of my home. The same goes for items inside of the oven. That's why I did not put the use and care guide back inside of the unit. There's no point in me putting it back in. I want it to be out of that appliance. That way, the first time they go to use it, if they're just turning it on to preheat something and they don't think about checking inside of it, that's already going to be removed. We've already eliminated a situation that may never have come to fruition, but could quite possibly be an issue for somebody. Peel all this off. So one trick that I use whenever I'm peeling the protective coating off of a door, I always peel from inside outwards. That way, whenever I get to the side where they have the pieces of metal that come together back here on the back where the metal fits in together, I'll actually be pulling out between that seam here. And I got a better shot of pulling it all off in one shot instead of having all these little blue hanger outers that I got to go back and try to nitpick all of those off. You really want to try to make certain that you get all of this blue film off whenever you guys are peeling all of the protective coating off. That way, A, if they start using this appliance, they're going to smell that. And B, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a call back where somebody just has a piece of that sitting in somewhere and they need somebody to get it out. It takes 2 seconds with a flathead screwdriver, a little pocket screwdriver, but they still called me back. All right, so this is our grates that are going to go up on top. We're going to need this next. Make certain whenever you guys are adjusting these racks for the consumer, I always go to the bottom two. That way it places items. They can just instantly start using it. That's around our center oven location. But there is a clear strap on here that is going to smell really nice if we don't remove that thing and they start using this thing. So make sure y'all clear that out. And let's move up here to the top and start putting it together. All right, so we want to ensure that all of our burner caps are in their places. All of them are sitting properly on top of our burners. You do not want to start testing this unit without these burner caps in their locations. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set the clock for the consumer. Easy as that. I'm going to go over to my box full of goodies here, and I'm going to carefully just cut the clear protective coating. And then this plastic strap. There you go. Now we've got all of our grates on, we can go ahead and start testing this appliance out for our consumer. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start testing our burners now that we've got everything assembled. I'm turning it to the flame position until it kicks on. I'm going to let it run on high for just a minute, and then we're going to crank it all the way down to low. If that flame goes out, then I need to make some adjustments. But as you can see, I still have, it's very, very faint, but I still have a flame there. It's on my lowest setting. But that right there is a good looking flame. Nice blue flame, little bit of orange coming out on the fingertips, but that is what you're looking for. Let's go to our left rear. Now the first time you guys actually turn on one of these burners, it's going to take a few seconds because the gas has to work its way into the system. But we're just verifying that we've got a good blue flame. High is the only one that should have little flecks of orange. It's a good looking flame. Let's go to our center. Lowest setting. That's crazy. That is beautiful. Let's go to our front right. That's our big burner. Drop it down to its lowest setting. Beautiful. And finally our right rear Beautiful. All right. All right, so checking the bake and broil takes a little bit more than just turning the knobs. What we're going to do first, I'm going to actually take my drawer out, which is done by lifting up in the front. Once you get it released, you're going to actually lift up the back and pull the whole piece out. We're just going to set that over here. We're going to open up our oven. We're going to take both these racks out. These screws back here in the back, there's two flathead screws. They're usually not too tight. I can usually do them by hand, unscrew them by hand, but we're going to pull both of those out. Set those to the side. We're going to lift the back of our grate up, and then once we get it high enough, we're going to take the front and push it up even higher so that we can release this panel. And then we've got this shield right here. Right underneath this shield's our bake element. We've got to visually be able to see that bake element to know if it has a good flame on it. So we're going to take out these two last 1/4 inch screws and set these over to the side. And then it's got two push tabs that just stab into that back wall. Just pull forward. There's our bake element. Our broil element's already exposed. So what are we looking for? We're looking for nice blue flames about 1 inch in length on both of them. Let's go ahead and let's test the bake first. All right, so we're going to hit bake. We're going to set it for 350. Now, since we have the panels removed, we're going to easily be able to see the flame. It's going to take a few minutes though. Our igniter's got to get hot enough. So I've got a good even flame. It's about 1 inch in length. Little flecks of orange, but mostly blue, which is actually what I was after. Yeah, so we can go ahead and put our panels back in. Let's go ahead and check our broil. Same way, just broil, turn it on high, give it a minute for it to heat up. As you can see, we've got a good blue flame on the broil element as well. It's about 1 inch in length and nice and blue with just little flecks of orange in it. We've got a fully functioning appliance. Let's go ahead and close it up. So if you need to adjust one of the shutters on either your bake or your broil burners, there's a Phillips head screw down here in the bottom that you're going to loosen, and you're just going to turn your shutter. If you need less gas-air mixture, you're going to reduce the size of your opening. If you need more, and that's going to be based on your flame. If you've got a really blue flame with no flecks of orange, you do want a little bit of orange flecks coming off of it. But if you don't have any, then you're getting way too much air mixture. You need to decrease this. If you're getting an orange flame and not much blue in the mix, then you need to increase, allow more airflow to actually come in here to get a better mixture. But from the factory, it comes positioned where the green marking is. I'm going to put it back there because I was showing you guys how to adjust it before I started testing on ours, and we'll see how close the factory is on their specs whenever they manufacture. So now that I've inspected our burner flame and I've got our shutter adjusted down there on the burner assembly, before we put our drawer back in, this is whenever you want to make any final adjustments to the leveling legs while you have each of them exposed. So go ahead and place your level across the top so you can check your level from left to right, and set it on your side trim so you can check your level front to back. We want to try to get it as level as we can while keeping it uniform with the countertop. All right, so I've completed my installation of the Frigidaire gas freestanding range. Two things that I want to remind you of. Number one, Remind your consumer if they're present, do not put aluminum foil inside of the oven. And 2, if they're present, you can hand them their material. If they are not present, I always put it in the drawer to the left of where the appliance is. If you guys have any other questions or comments, feel free to check us out at electroluxservicetips.com.